My guest today is Nancy Ganzekaufer, and she's a life and business coach and the founder of Your Business Partner. Through her work, she empowers women entrepreneurs to create the life and business they've always wanted and deserved. As a mom of three young adults and a successful business owner, she understands the unique challenges women face when pursuing their dreams, and she leads by example through her hard work. But she also encourages, and most of all, she has a no BS leadership style. She offers her clients individualized phone call and email coaching, as well as webinars and workbooks to develop business identity, set goals, and master marketing, time management, and sales and communication skills. Well, welcome, Nancy. Those are all good things that you share.
Thank you so much, Gail. That was a beautiful introduction.
Well, thank you. And tell us a little more about yourself and your history that brings you to this point in career as a life and business coach for women business owners.
Well, I had quite the history. I mean, I started out like everyone else, graduating high school and going off to college for me. And I was a business management and finance concentration, which really had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So that was kind of like, I always liked to work from when I was 11 years old. So I thought, all right, let me go the route of business. While I went to school, I also worked at a bank part-time as a collector, then in customer service. And when I graduated, they offered me a full-time job. 10 years later, I had moved up the ranks to first vice president, was running 3 departments of 50 people each, so 150 people with vice presidents under me, and I loved it. I loved the corporate world. But then I decided,
Okay,
What happened?
no idea.
I have a little circle going on mine. I don't know what that is. The little blue circle running around on my Skype.
Don't know.
Hmm.
See if we can bring up Nancy again. Where's Nancy at? Do you know?
Where is she at? Oh, I don't know. Where's her phone number?
Lost
I
the
don't.
whole. She's not picking up at all, so which tells me that her site is totally down. Okay, so let's go to reverse. Got a phone. I'm gonna call her on her phone.
Okay.
It's failing on that side.
516. That's New York.
6, 7, 4.
But you don't know where anybody is anymore with the phone numbers.
True. See if we can get her that way. Skype is failing all the way around out there.
Huh.
So let's try and see if we can call her directly on her phone. Try to do a Skype setup first. It's saying that doesn't exist. Well, it doesn't exist. The connection's wrong.
hello?
Oh, there she is.
I dropped. The phone dropped. I'm not sure what you heard last.
We heard you were just getting into. You had been you were vice president working off of you had 150 people under you.
Yeah, so I had 150 people, but then like many women, I started to choose to have a family. And after my second was born, I decided to leave the corporate world because both my children had some types of medical issues. One daughter had food allergies, the other one had a lot of anxiety. So I decided to try to do the stay-at-home mom thing. It didn't last very long for me because I am a hard worker and I wanted some other life outside of being a stay-at-home mom, as many women do. And I went to become a personal fitness instructor. So I did a 6-month course at a university and I started working as a personal fitness trainer. When my husband got home from work, I trained women out of my house and I developed a whole business with personal training. I loved that business. It was being like a coach for people for their fitness, but you're also listening to their lives and you're helping them. Then I got pregnant with my third child. And when he was born, he is fine now, but he was born with a heart anomaly and he had to have open heart surgery at 5 days old. and was quarantined for 2 years. So at that point, I thought managing the
You lose her again?
I think so.
Wonder if they're having a storm up there or something.
Don't know.
Okay, I guess you got to call her back again.
We'll try it again. But she picked up on her. Hold on, let me get her on. 6446.
I don't know why this call keeps dropping.
Elizabeth, are you on? I'm sorry. Nancy,
Yeah.
are you on Skype right now?
Correct.
Okay. My suggestion is it's something to do with your Skype. So, can we give you a call on a phone number instead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it on. Let me give you my cell. I'll turn it back on. It's 516 446 7435.
All right, I'm going to call you right back.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Let's try a phone connection.
Oh, I thought that's what you were doing.
I thought so too, but she was coming up on Skype.
Hello.
Here we are. All right, Nancy, let's try this side.
Okay.
Gail, do you remember where you picked up or left
Yeah,
off?
you had said that your son had been born and he had open heart surgery at age 5. That's where you left off.
At 5 days old.
He
had open heart surgery at 5 days old, and with 2 other kids older than him, I decided that it was time to leave work and take care of him because he was quarantined for 2 years. And I did the stay-at-home mom thing for about 2 years. When I was starting to look at what I wanted to do, go back to work, become a personal fitness instructor again, or possibly go back in the corporate world, my mother, who is an artist living in Vegas, had said to me she was giving all her artwork away for free because she was so prolific. And I was like, don't do that. I'm looking to start something new again. So I started selling my mother's artwork at home art parties, literally sticky tacking watercolors to people's walls and having them invite friends and family to night of wine and cheese. And that started to take off. One day, an interior designer walked into a party and picked a painting and said, "That's the perfect painting for my client's home. Would you bring it to the client's house?" I said, "Of course." At the house, they're like, "Would you help us frame it?" I'm like, "No problem." I knew nothing about any of this, but I figured it out. So 17 years later, which takes us to now, I also run a company called Expressive Living Art and Framing, where we provide art services from artists all over the United States and framing service to interior designers all over the New York metro area. About 2 years ago, I decided that a lot of the female entrepreneurs would come to me for advice because of my business experience and how I've grown to successful businesses prior. And I decided that, let me actually pursue that for my next stage of life. So at 51 years old, I decided to start doing women's life and business coaching. I had been through a lot in my life. I'd created 2 successful businesses on my own and had experience in the corporate world. So I opened up Nancy Ganzekaufer, Your Business Partner, which is a women's life and business coaching service. So that takes us to today. And I still also run Expressive Living.
Wow. So but actually you built about 3 or 4 different kinds of businesses. So what do you think helped you? What kind of traits do you think helped you rise above all these ups and downs? Because you actually had 3 children with 3 different types of issues, and you still continue to do what you did, and now you're continuing to pursue your dreams. So what do you think there is about Nancy that makes this happen?
You know what? I think that it's something a lot of women have and a lot of women can work on getting, but it's really making a decision, being persistent, having a great support system. those are the three things that I think are most important when you're looking to grow a business or create a new identity for yourself and pursue a new dream that you've always had for yourself. I always wanted to go from personal fitness training to life coaching. But I saw an opportunity in between and I went, oh, maybe I'll do that instead. But now I'm so happy to be back to what I always wanted to do. So making that decision is the first step. And like I said, persistence, and then a great support system. Make sure you have people surround you who you can call upon when you're doubting yourself and your confidence is wavering, to say, no, you're actually in the right space and you need to keep going.
Well, that's I think part of everything. I think people always say, well, how are you able to, raise three children and have such a big business and all of this? And I said, I had a great husband. I mean, he really,
yes.
he was the one that really supported the home. I mean, he just, and he said, whatever you want to do, just go do it. So,
well, Gail, I shouldn't even tell you this then, because I am divorced now.
Oh, okay. So tell me how that happened, or what happened there.
You know what? I am divorced now. We're amicable. He's still very supportive in co-parenting with the kids. We just got to a point when our first daughter went to college, that we started looking at each other like, okay, our relationship has weakened over the years due to the amount of medical child stress we've had in the household. So let's try to fix it. And it just didn't work out. It did not work out that we were able to fix it. So we did end up separated and divorced. He lives a half a mile from me. Like I said, we're still very amicable and cooperative, and it's actually fine. And now I have a very nice boyfriend. We travel all the time. Part of the reason why I wanted to create another, something for myself that I could actually do from anywhere, to be able to travel in my next stage of life and still support so many women in growing their lives, was really important to me.
Well, see, they say that children trouble and money trouble either makes you stronger or weaker, depends on what the circumstances are. And it's wonderful that you were able to still have an amicable relationship, because that's part of all of that. So I applaud you for that. So, when we talk about, moving from one career to the other career, what would you say is the one action that our listeners could take today to make them better leaders in their own lives?
I think the first and the primary action everyone needs to take, and this can take a while for some people, is to really figure out what's in your heart. You have to do a lot of soul searching and go, what do I love to do? What do I want my life to look like? And what do people come to me for that I'm really enjoy and I'm really good at? If you can really figure that out and fine-tune that, it is so much easier to figure out all the next steps, because you're now in tune with what's going to make you jump out of bed in the morning, because you're so excited for what you do every day, rather than, oh, I got to get to my computer and I've got to mark it. It's if you're loving what you're doing, everything else is easier.
I sure believe in that. I mean, people always say to me, well, when are you going to retire? And I say, never. And they say, never. And I say, why should I retire? People retire to do what they've always wanted to do. But I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, and I always have. So I wouldn't live my life any differently than I'm living it now. And I enjoy what I'm doing. So I think that has a lot to do with everything. So if you were going to give 3 tips to women that they could work on today, what would they be?
Well, we won't call it a tip, because after they have figured out really what's in their heart and what they want their life to look like, let's talk about the next step after that. The next step for me was to flood my mind with positivity. Really flood it with positivity, because when you're changing direction, our minds automatically go into self-doubt on an often basis. Every time you have a setback, which is bound to happen, you automatically start to go, okay, am I in the right space? Am I doing the right thing? So I flood my mind with positivity. And then I'd say the